what can't, I mean, no matter what you listen to by those guys, you can always find something in their music that is just so incredible, and they grow. It seems like they just keep growing and growing and growing, and like now they've got this Nostradamus thing out, which I can't get out of my head. I listen to it all the time, and you know, there's just it's great to see a band survive 30-odd years and continually grow and still sound great. And so that's a big inspiration for, you know, not only me, but some of the guys in the band, too.
Right. Well, that's cool. Very cool. And so that being said, some of your influences, we know Priest, we know Blue Oyster Cult. What other bands you grew up listening to that kind of molded you?
Well, early Iron Maiden. I mean, I was when I got the first Iron Maiden album, I don't think at the time I had run into Lars Ulrich from Metallica when he was down here living near me, and he was looking to form a band, and that band ended up becoming Metallica.
Right.
And him and I met through an ad. You know, he was looking for a singer, I was looking for a drummer, and we just met. And I remember he was either going to be a tennis pro or he was going to be a drummer. And I was very impressed by his knowledge. And I think him and I were probably the only two in the area that knew who the hell Iron Maiden was at that time.
Right.
Because we had the imports. You couldn't get them here yet. And we had the import of the first album. And so I played that thing and just immediately fell in love with that band. I loved Paul Di'Anno's voice. I thought it was so unique that here's this guy that really doesn't fit the high-pitched, you know, 4 or 5 octave metal vocalist, but he was more raw and punkish type stuff. But the music was there, and I really dug the first 2 albums. Then when they brought Bruce Dickinson in, you know, it took me, I mean, I dug it because I knew who Bruce was because he was in Samson.
Right.
But I knew who he was. I didn't know, you know, I was just so into Paul Di'Anno, I didn't know if they were going to be able to pull it off, and of course they did.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've done just such incredible stuff. I think Bruce is a much better fit now that I've had years to reflect on it. But Maiden was a huge influence. I listened to a lot of early Motorhead stuff. Tigers of Pantang, all the stuff from England and Europe was a huge influence on me.
Right.
So I pull from all that stuff. I think I wasn't into the LA glam scene.
No.
That just didn't turn me on. It just became too poppy in my opinion. Whereas bands like Metallica just had this whole different outlook on stuff.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool here in LA. And then and then when Megadeth came along, I really dug that. So but I've listened to it all. I think I was one of the first people to go to a Motley Crue show here in Hollywood back when they first started. And I really dug them. I thought they were great because they just had a different attitude about things, and their sound was cool back then. And I really dug it. So, I've witnessed it all in the heavy metal world, but I think my true heart and soul lies with the stuff that came out of England and the new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah,
because it had that glamness to it, but it wasn't like they weren't dressing up like chicks like the California scene.
Exactly. That's what I was just like, the band I was in was called Battle Axe, and we just weren't into it.
Yeah.
It was like, if we have to dress up like chicks, I mean, come on. And we had that more thing of like, it's about like AC/DC or Metallica,
Yeah.
Let's just go out and do something like that. And and it just wasn't catching on, so that's kind of why we disbanded that band, and everybody went different directions for a while. But I think it was good that happened because gave me a lot more perspective on what's happened with the music industry and where it's going now, and I think the timing's right now for Metal Nights. I think this sound that we've got, I think it's time to bring something like this back and add a little fresh spin on it and see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. It's I mean, yeah, it had like the medieval theme and everything like that. So it's different. People aren't doing the like the theme bands anymore. Everyone's got the whole image now is to not have an image.
Yeah, right.
It's like enough of that already. I'm sick of seeing the college kids up on stage with their string ties and the short haircuts and just wearing their roll out of bed clothes. And
yeah,
you're supposed to be entertainers. Put on a show.
We're just happy going out on stage and playing. We and bringing a good show and doing what we can do to kind of bring back the crusade of the real heavy metal that we grew up on, and that really started the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.